Hello wonderful people, it's Wild here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to build this grand water temple. This show-stopping build is inspired by ancient Greek and Roman architecture and has a really classical feel that would make for a stunning base or feature for your world. As well as its many intricate details, this build features flowing water streams, sea lanterns and kelp, so let's get building. The materials you'll need for this build are on your screen now. Keep in mind it's always useful to have a few extra and you'll want to create an infinite water source in survival. Here is the outline for our build. You can see that it is a 21 by 31 rectangle. We're going to begin this build by digging out this whole area, including the border that I've got marked out here. So that means we're going to have a 1 deep hole that is 21 by 31 in size. Now that we've got our hole dug out, we can work on the foundations for this build. We're going to be creating a water feature built into the floor. So I'm going to find this center here. I'm going to just place down a block and I can either count either side or fly up to check that I've got the center. I'll then break that temporary block and I'm going to have 3 of the stone brick coming in from either side like this. And then I'm going to place in 2 stairs here and here, just facing inwards. Then I'm going to come to one side of the build and I'm going to count 10 blocks along this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then I'll turn to face the build and I'm going to add 2 more of these groupings like this. Let's head to the back part of the build. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And another one here. And we've got that one wide gap. We can do this on the other side and on this end now. And we're just going to add the 2 stairs in here like this for each of them. With these marked in, we're going to add in some designs which are going to sit where our walls are going. So I'm going to start by placing a stone brick diagonally up like this, and then turning it into a little plus. I'm going to come over to the one opposite it like this and create another one of these little pluses. And then in this corner here, I'm going to connect them up just like that. Then to finish off the design, I'm going to add one more little plus connecting on. So we should have this kind of shape. So if we were to do it over to this side, we're going to go and create a little plus here like this. A plus over on this side. Then we're going to connect them up and add one more plus here, just like that. Now with those 2 in, let's add the 2 at the back, just the same way. Don't forget you can also access a build download for this over on my Patreon, as well as all my other tutorials. So if we look from above now, this is the shape that we've got. I've now come round to the long sides and we're going to add in some more of these designs. I'm going to start off the same way, adding a little plus kind of up diagonally from these 2 places here and here. And these will be 1 block apart. I'm then just going to connect them over the top with 3 blocks. Let's do this on the other side of the build. And now we've got a bit of a rough outline. So we're going to grab out some stone brick stairs now, and I'm going to start by placing one block diagonally out like this, and you can see that I can wrap them around with a 1 block gap around this border. I'm just going to go ahead and create a rectangle following this 1 block away from the wall shape all the way around. There we go, I've connected up. Then I'm going to go all the way around again, this time with stone brick, straight inside this outline. Like that. Now in each of the gaps between these first things we built and this square, we're going to create a design. So we're going to place in 2 of our chiseled stone brick here and here with a stone brick in between. Then I'm going to take some stone stairs and facing them in towards this edge, we're just going to place 3 on either side. Like that. So we can go ahead and create another one on each of these. We're getting a really intricate looking design happening here, and we're going to go in with some more stone stairs now. So I'm going to place these all the way around the outside of our large rectangle like this, facing in towards the center. I'll just skip over where we have these little walkways and continue around the rectangle. Just like that. Then where we've got these walkways at the front, I'm going to place in 2 stairs out like this. There we go. And over to the side, we're going to do the same thing. Let's do this on all of these decorations. There we go, that's all of those done, and a few more stairs to add in now. So I'm going to come in and I'm facing again this way, and we're going to place one in here, coming around, and when I reach this corner, I'm going to wrap the stair around so it joins up. Then I'm going to come to this other side and I'm going to do just the same thing and wrapping the stair around so it connects up. Let's go this way now. Around we go and connect. Around we go and connect. So the other 2 corners are going to be exactly the same. Now for the center parts, we're going to do something fairly similar, but this time we're just connecting straight across. Like that. And over here, connecting right across. There we go. So let's do these other corners really quickly. Perfect, this is looking great. Let's work on the center now. For this central design, I'm going to rotate so I'm facing along this long side here, and I'm going to find the center of this smaller rectangle. That's here. I'm going to place a stair opposite each other on either side, and I can check that that is indeed in the center. I'll then wrap these around like this to connect up. Then I'm going to place in another stair coming around this way, like that. Then I've got to have a couple more stairs coming around like this. And we're creating this sort of stretched out plus symbol. I'm then going to place in 2 more stairs here, and you can see that there should be a 1 block gap on either side. Then I can fill in here, but I'm just going to leave a 1 block gap in the corner. And on this side as well, once again leaving that 1 block gap. So our central design is like this. The final thing we need to do for this foundation is to fill in all of the gaps where we can see dirt below with some stone. Now when I'm doing this, I'm going to leave out those 4 holes in the center there, but I'll fill in everywhere else. So that's all the way around the outside of the build here like this. Any of these gaps around here. And also these gaps in the center. So let's keep filling. We're about to start working on some of these pillars, but before we do that, I've got a water bucket here and I'm just going to go ahead and flood all of the blocks in the foundation. So that's including these stairs here, and I could just click these in like this all the way around. I definitely recommend that if you're in survival, you set up an infinite water source for this task, and you can just go ahead and fill everything in, except for these 4 blocks here. But I can fill in the rest of the center like these blocks. Now we're all waterlogged, let's add in our pillars. I'm going to start by coming to the center of each of these crosses and building up 2 high with stone brick. So let's do this all the way around the build, and then we can double check that we've got the locations of each of these pillars correct. So you can see there's a 3 block gap here, then a 5 block gap. a 3-block gap, then a 5-block gap, and finally a 3-block gap. And that's the same on the other long side, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3. Then on the shorter sides, we have 2 3-block gaps on the outer edges, and then a 5-block gap in the center. Now for each of these pillars, we're going to add a chiseled stone brick on the sides like this. But you can see I'm going to leave the face that faces inwards free. So over on this side of the build, I'll place in 3 here, but leave this face free. And then for the corners, I'm going to place one on every side like this. Now on top of the chiseled stone brick, we're going to add in some stairs. And on top of that, we've got a sea lantern, followed by 3 andesite, and a sea lantern on top of that. Then I'm going to use some stone brick walls, and I'm going to add them on top of each of the stairs. So we have this design, and I can go ahead and repeat that. And once again, as I rotate round, I'm going to be leaving this side facing in free. Next, I'm going to take some stone brick and we're going to create a rectangle on top of all of these pillars, just going all the way around this build. This is going to allow us to create our archways and add some more details to the top. There we go. I'm going to now add a chiseled stone brick sticking out from here like this in front of each of the sea lanterns here like this. So you can see on the corners we're going to be having 2. And underneath each one we're going to add in a stone brick wall. Now in each of the 3 wide gaps, I'm going to take some stone brick stairs and add in 2, just like this, to create a small archway. So you can see I'm skipping over the 5-block gaps. There we go, let's now work on an archway for the larger gap. So on these larger gaps, we're going to start by placing 2 stairs on top of each other like this, and then this way like that. I'm then going to use some sort of temporary block. I've just got some andesite here, but you could use whatever you like, to place in 2 stairs facing away from each other like that. Then in the center, we're going to add a slab. So let's create another one of these around here. There we go. And again, we're going to do this on all of the 5 wide gaps. With all of the archways in, I've come inside the build now and I'm going to grab out some stone. I'm going to start in one of the corners, building all the way up to the height of the stone brick here. I'm then going to see that I am in the center of this small archway. I'm going to come over 1 block and fill in these 2 all the way up to the same height. And over to the other side as well. So now if we look from the outside, you can see that there is a gap down the center of this archway. Now if we come over to this next smaller archway, we're going to build 2 blocks here, and 2 blocks on the other side. And once again, that's going to leave us with a gap in the center of the small archway. So let's add in all of these walls all the way around. Now in each of these gaps, we're going to place a stone at the bottom followed by a stone stair. I'm going to count 3 blocks up, and on the 4th block, I'll add in another stone stair upside down and then a stone block. And I can also come inside and add in 1 more to finish off this wall. So each of the corners we're just going to leave like this, just with the gap in the center. But when we come to the central 3 wide gap here on the side walls of the larger 2 sides, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to have 3 trapdoors in the gap. like that. So this next one on the corner, I'm just going to leave a trapdoor free, but still with my 3 high gap. And again with this one on the corner, but around on this opposite side, we've got to have our block, our stair, our 3 trapdoors, 1, 2, 3, our stair, and then our 2 blocks. Let's fill in the rest of the gaps. I'm going to come inside the build now, and I've got some kelp here. I'm going to start by placing just 1 in the corner. Then I'm going to place some glass on either side, and I'm going to start building this up, and I'm stopping 2 below the top. Like that. Then I'm going to place in some stairs. So we've got these 2 facing outwards like this, and then these 2 facing inwards, and they're right way up. I'm going to place in a water here, and I'm making sure it's level with the lower stairs, and that'll flow all the way down to the bottom, and eventually our kelp is going to grow up, and it's also going to push the water so it flows out of these gaps. You can use some bone meal on it if you like. I'm just going to let it grow naturally. And then I'm going to place a sea lantern in this corner here. Then let's come over to this central design. So here we're going to place a sea lantern in the center with 2 upside down stairs on either side, or rather upward stairs, with some upside down stairs below it like this. It's kind of hard to see with the stone stairs, but it should create a curved shape out like that. Then looking from underneath the block, I'll place in 1 more upside down stair. You can see this is facing the opposite way. So then when I click on it with a water bucket, it'll flow directly down like that, and you should be able to see it through the trapdoors on the other side. So let's replicate this design over here and this corner design on the other corners. To finish off the inside here, we're just going to place in a few more stairs. These are just going upside down in front of each of these larger archways. And then we can get working on the next level of the build. There we go. Okay, let's work outside here. I'm going to start by placing an andesite on top of each of the chiseled stone brick blocks here. There we go. I'm now going to start connecting these up with stone bricks. So in the 3 wide gaps, I'm just connecting straight across. Then when we come to a 5 wide gap, I'm actually going to place 1 in like this, and I can use a temporary block to rotate the next one around. Like that, so we have a little gap between them. Straight across for the 3 wide gap, and again for this next 5 wide gap, I'm rotating the stair around. This is giving us a place for some water to flow out, and this will line up with the gap we've got down here in our walkway. So let's do this all the way around, following along with our pattern. I'm now going to take some stone stairs, and I'm making smaller archways underneath here using a stair on either side and then slabs to connect them up. So of course we'll be needing a few extra slabs for when we're doing the larger gaps, but I'm still following this stair and then slab pattern. The wonderful thing about a build like this one is there is a lot of repetition in design. This means it has a really coherent look, and it also makes it a little bit easier to build than something that's totally random. Plus, a design with lots of symmetry like this always looks extra fancy and extravagant. When you're building, you can always double check that you've got each of the panels the same. So all of our 3 wide panels should be the same, and all of our 5 wide panels should be the same here, except for some of the small differences, like where we've got our kelp growing. Okay, now that we've got that in, I'm also going to add a stone brick wall on top of each of the andesite. And I'm going to take an andesite and I'm placing it 1 diagonally in like this on each of the corners. I'll then take some stone stairs, and I'm going to be placing these going around in a sort of square around them like that. And you can see I've got the back of the stairs up against that andesite. Now that we've gone around each of these, I'm going to take a few more stairs and we're just going to go all the way around the build like this. Making sure we are not rotating any of the stairs in here. If this happens where it rotates around, you just need to break that block and replace it in so that it connects up with the rest of its square. The other thing we're going to do is find the center of this wall here. You can see it's where we've got this sea lantern. I'm going to place in a couple extra stairs here and I'm going to count 2 blocks away from the center. So that's placing me here. You can see it's diagonal away from this stair. And I'm actually going to face these stairs in towards one another and build them 2 back. Like that. Now I want them to connect up here. So I'm going to break this stair and replace it so it connects around on both sides. So it should look like that. Let's do this over here. 1, 2, 1, 2. And let's curve these stairs around. There we go. Now that we've got all of those designs marked out, we're going to fill in the rest of this area with a checkerboard pattern using andesite and polished andesite. So you just want to find one place to start by placing in a block like this. And then we're going to create the checkerboard pattern by alternating in between these blocks. So I find it easiest when I'm creating a checkerboard pattern to work in diagonals like this. Once I've got one diagonal in, I'll switch to the next block and I can just go ahead and fill in the pattern like this. And then I can always go back in and make sure I haven't left any gaps, so I'll need to place in a few more blocks to fill in here. Let's get the rest of the floor done. We've got the whole floor filled in now, so we're going to add in our water. So I'm placing these in every location where we have these stone stairs going around the build. And then when I place it here, you'll see it flows down to fill in that gap. So once again, let's make our way around the build, placing in all of our water. And again, we'll have it flowing down nicely here. I'll come back and do the rest of that in just a second, but I'm also going to be adding a water flowing out between these 2 chiseled stone brick on each of the corners of the build like this. That's why you have this square ponds down below to catch the water. Alright, back to filling in. Now that we've got all of the beautiful water flowing from this build, we're going to work on the pillars for the second story. So I'm going to find this stair here and place in 2 andesite, and I'm going to do this on each of the corners. So you can see it's diagonally in from here. And these 2 should be 7 blocks apart, as is the one at the front. Then I'm going to count 5 across, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and on the 6th block, which should be diagonally out from this stair, I'm going to place in another one. And over here, again with a 5 block gap between these 2, and on the other side as well. Now on top of each of these, we're going to add a sea lantern, then 2 andesite, followed by another sea lantern and 1 more andesite. Then at the base, we're going to add in some chiseled stone brick. Now on the ones on the side, we've got our stone wall going around here, so I'm not going to place a chiseled stone brick in there. I'm just going to place in these 3. And then on this side, I'll place them on this edge, leaving this side free. But then on top of all of our chiseled stone brick, we're going to go in with some stairs. Like that. We've got stairs at the top. And once again, when I've got this pillar in here, going up like this, I'm just going to place my stairs on these 3 sides. And I might as well put these ones in here now. And then we've got some walls just going up and connecting everything. So now that we've got our design in place, I've got to replicate it on all of these other pillars. Okay, I've finished off all of these pillars and you can see that the faces facing inwards are free of walls. Now we're going to be working on these panels where there is a 3 wide gap at the bottom. So we've got this one and this one. We're going to leave out the center one on these 2 walls. and this one, and this one. I'm going to start off, I've got a temporary block so I can place an upside down stair here, and this should be in line with this decoration. I'm then going to go ahead and place 5 glass on top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and finish off with a stone stair on top of that. Then we've got some stairs coming to either side to create a frame, adding a chiseled stone brick in the center, like this. Then coming behind that, I'll place a sea lantern here at the bottom, and I'm going to fill in this bit of the wall with some stone. So it should look like this from the interior. I'm then going to place in a trapdoor here like this and flip it up, and I'll place in a water at the bottom where I can plant a kelp on top. And I can go ahead and add in a few more of these trapdoors, flip them down, and I'll add one more water at the top, which will flood this chamber. We're going to create this same design in these 3 locations, so let's quickly do that. Once again, starting with our stair at the base, creating a window. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now that we've got these 4 panels done, we need to work on these 2 next. I'm going to start by placing a sea lantern behind these 2 pillars, and I'll place a stone stair in front of that, so that should be in line with these blocks. On top of this stair, I'm going to place in 5 trapdoors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The color of these warped trapdoors works so well with the sea lanterns. I'm also going to use a temporary block so that I can place in an upside down stone stair on top. So we should have something that looks like this. I'm then going to place in a stone block on either side with a stair on top of that, here and here. Coming up, I'm going to use a temporary block so that way I can add in an upside down stair. Next, I'll add in some chiseled stone brick, another stone stair, and once again, we're going to come up like this and add in an upside down stair. We're going to place 3 stone behind here like this. And we're going to build up 2 high on either side and 2 down from either side. And while I'm here, I can fill in that side there and in front of that pillar there. And I'm going to add in 2 more stone blocks, 1 here and 1 here. Let's come back out to add in our last few stairs. These 2 are upright and these 2 are upside down. So our design should look like this from the outside. Then to finish it off on the interior, I'm going to come in here and place in some trapdoors above and below. I'll then click on this top block here holding shift so that water flows down, and I can hop back in and place in my last few trapdoors and flip them. And I'm going to need to place in a few more water coming down here and sneak my way back out. Don't forget to shut your trapdoors. So you're going to have a bit of water flowing out here, but then once you've got those trapdoors closed, it's going to look lovely. Let's create this design on the other side. Just 2 walls to go for this story, and I'm going to work on the back wall first. I'm going to be placing a sea lantern in line with this stone wall, as well as an upside down stone stair in line with these pillars. I'm just going to build up on either side of here with some stone like this. And I'll close it off over the top as well, and I'm going to add in 1 stone stair. I'm also going to go ahead and fill it in with glass. Oh, and make sure this stair has its flat side like this up against the glass. We've got a few more stairs to create the same frame design that we have on those 4 first panels we built, and I'll add in some chiseled stone brick. Now for these gaps, I'm going to build up 2 high, and then I'm going to be placing in 3 trapdoors, 1, 2, 3, and I'll flip those. I'm then going to place another 3 trapdoors, 1, 2, 3 on top of that, and I can fill up this space with water. And then I'll just top it off with some more stone. Over to this side, once again we'll go up 2 and place in our trapdoors. Fill in with some water and top off the wall. Now to finish off this window, we're going to come inside the build. I'm going to grab some warped trapdoors and place in this first one, water, kelp, and then we can do just as before, adding in the rest of our trapdoors and our last water. There we are. Now I'm around at the front wall. I'm going to line myself up with this stone wall here, and leaving a gap in the center, I'm going to create a frame for the door, just like this. Around this, I'm going to place in 2 chiseled stone brick, 2 stone walls, and then some stairs to create an archway. There we go. I'm going to place 3 more stone on top of this, and then I'm going to build up on either side and top it off to create a small window. Here I'm going to be using some stone stairs to create a frame. There we go, and I place glass in here. Off to either side, I'm going to do the same thing as on that side, building up 2 high, and then placing in my 2 sets of trapdoors. Let's flood this. And on the other side as well. And topping it off with some stone. Now let's come inside the build, and here we're going to place in a trapdoor here. We've got our water and our kelp, and then our final trapdoor and our final water. Now this looks lovely, but last but not least, we need to add in our warped door here, and I've got it flush with this stone wall behind it. Now let's come up and start working on the floor for the 3rd story. I'm going to begin by placing in my polished andesite on these 2 blocks. Then I'm going to go in with an andesite and some more polished andesite here and here. Now I'm going to come around using some polished andesite to create a border as well as my regular andesite. We're going with that checkerboard pattern again. So I've got to go all the way around doing this. You'll see then that we have these gaps left out. So in these spaces here, as well as on the front and back side, I'm going to continue the checkerboard pattern, but this time with slabs. So it will look like this. Once I've gone all the way around the edges, I'll then continue to fill in the whole rest of this area, and I'm going to have to make sure I keep my checkerboard pattern aligned up. It's always a good idea to take a step back and double check these things. But I'll go ahead and fill in, continuing my checkerboard pattern. Next, we're going to add in a few more pillars. I'm going to find this block here between these stairs, and I'll place in a chiseled stone brick, followed by 5 andesite, and 1 more chiseled stone brick on top. It should line up with these stairs. So I'll do this on all of the sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You should have 4 of these posts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and our very last one over here. 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1. There we go. Now that we've got those, and we're going to add some walls. On the bottom, I'm just placing in 2 on the 2 sides that are facing outwards. Then at the top, I'm going to add in all 4 going all the way around. Over this way, we've got our 2 here. 1 and 2. And then 4 up the top. And onto our last pillar. There we go. Next, I'm going to be adding in an andesite slab in these corners, followed by 2 polished andesite blocks here and here. And I can add an andesite block on top of this chiseled stone brick. To continue on, we're going to use some andesite slabs and polished andesite slabs to continue this checkerboard pattern out one like this. So we'll have a little raised edge underneath. Let's do this all the way around. On these longer sides, I'm just going to continue all the way across like this. Then I've got some stone stairs, and these are going all the way around the build, placed upside down onto these slabs and the blocks on the corners. Once we've placed these in, let's take a step back before we work on the roof, just to see how the build is coming along. Almost all the way around. And there we go. So here's what we've got so far. It's really coming together now. We're going to add in some water before we work on this roof. So I'm going to come to these corners here and place some water onto this slab. It should flow straight down like this and land into the little square gutter we've created below. The idea is that the water cascades all the way down from the top into the moat, and it has a really whimsical, magical feeling about it. Continuing this idea, we're going to come to these stairs on the sides and add water flowing down from this slab, there and there. So we've got two coming from that side. Let's go on to the other side and do the same thing. Looking lovely. Now onto the roof. So I've got some polished andesite here, and I'm going to start by finding the corner at the front and placing in one. I'm then going to work my way up like this, placing in a wall and then a block until I reach the center. Okay, one more block and that's the center. Let's come up the other side now, doing the exact same thing. Block, stone brick wall, block, stone brick wall. Then in the center, I'm going to add a chiseled stone brick with a wall on top, creating a nice point. I'm going to come back one block, and on the block behind that, we're going to do the same design, except we're not going to add a wall on the very top this time. But I will indeed add the chiseled stone brick. So we've got 2 points here. Let's do the same thing on the back. So this first one is going to have a wall on the top like the one at the front, and then the second one won't. With these in place, I'm going to start filling in this wall. I'm going to come to this gap here. It's set one back from the stair and place in a stone. I'll skip over and build up 3 high next. Then 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then finally 7 for the center. Let's come back up this side. 1, 3, 5, and we've reached the center. I'm then going to come inside this area and place in a few stone like this. So it should look like that from the interior. Then we'll come back out of the build, and I'm going to add a slab on top and below each of these gaps. And in between, we're going to place in some stone brick walls. Going up, here we go. Coming back down again. Perfect. I've got some dark prismarine stairs here next, and we're going to make our way up towards the top. So I'm going to place in my 2 stairs, then I can place in a bucket of water. Then we've got 2 stairs, water, 2 stairs, water, and I'm going to leave a gap here, but I'll place a stair on top. Let's come back up the other side. So we've got the lovely water flowing here. I'm just working on creating the same design on the front side of the build. And let's add in the water on this side now. There we go, now we've got our 2 ends complete. Now we want to create a similar but smaller design of a gable on the two long sides. So I'm finding the center here that's above these trapdoors, and I'm going to place in 4 stone brick walls. Now on top of that, I'm going to place in a polished andesite, and we're going to create the same pattern of andesite blocks and walls going down towards the ground here. There we go. On top, we're going to add in our chiseled stone brick with a wall on top, like that. I'm going to come behind now and add in my stone like this, and here, and one there, and finally one there. So it should look like this from the inside, and then we need to fill it in with the stone to create the spaces for the water. Let's add in our slabs now, across the bottom and then across the top for these two. We don't need to add a slab on top of here, but I am going to add in my water for there. I'm then going to come up with some stairs. We're placing 2 here and here. Let's go on this side and place in the water. 1 here and 1 here. Then I can place in the water for this layer. And finally the last 2 stairs. 1 and 2. So we've got our nice gable design. Now I've gone ahead and built the same gable on the opposite side, and the last thing I need to do is add in a couple more walls here and here. I've already added them in on that side. I'm going to work on the rest of the roof now, and I'm going to start with some stone. I'm going to build the tops of the roof peaks here by placing in an alternating sea lantern, a stone, a sea lantern, and a stone. Over on this side as well, sea lantern, stone, like that. Then across the top, we're going to do this all the way coming off of this andesite. I'll also fill in these 2 gaps with a sea lantern, like that. On top of each sea lantern, I'm going to place a stone brick slab, and that goes for these smaller gables as well. And I'm going to cover each showing face with a trapdoor like this. I'm not going to worry about the ones underneath. Over to this side, once again we've got our trapdoors, and over here some more trapdoors. Now to fill in the rest of the roof, we're just going to be using the dark prismarine stairs. So I'm going to start by coming along like this and connecting up. Then again, we're going to come along like this, and it should wrap around nicely like that. Coming up on our next layer, and I'm going to need to place in 1 more stair this way so it curves around. And once again, we're going to need to curve our stair around for here. Once we get up to this height, we're just going to connect our stairs up to this stone, and the layer above this will connect all the way across the large roof. So let's see how this looks when it's finished. So here is how the roof should look. You can see how the stairs all connect up and join around where we have these smaller gables, but there shouldn't be any holes in your roof, so make sure you double check you didn't leave out any stairs. I'm going to go in with some polished andesite slabs now, and I'm placing them along this edge, and I'm going to stop diagonally down from this block and restart diagonally down from the block on the other side. So it looks like that. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side of the build. Alright, I've come down to the bottom of the build now, and we're going to work on this area. I'm going to replace this stone with the sea lantern to provide a little bit of light. I'm then going to look above here and find that block, so that's here, and place in a slab. I'm then going to surround that with some upside down stairs. And then when I place a water in here, it should flow directly downwards like this. Now we've got these 4 gaps to fill in, and that's going to be how we access our other stories. So I'm going to come to this gap first. I'm going to replace the bottom with some soul sand like this. While facing towards the front of the build from the back, I'll place a door with a warped door. And then I'm going to go all the way up to the height of the ceiling using some trapdoors. Over this side, and then we're going to need to do the front and back side as well. So I'm going to have an elevator here that reaches the 3rd story. The one beside it is going to reach the 2nd story, so that's the one right above us. And then these 2 are going to be how we get down from our different stories. Okay, now that we've got this tube in place, you could use some scaffolding to come up, break this block. We're going to work on this next section. So I'm going to place in one more trapdoor just here so our water doesn't flow out. And I'm going to place trapdoors all the way up to the top of the roof. I'm also going to need to place one trapdoor here. I can then break this block as well, and this has accessed our attic space. So I can place a water bucket at the top. It should flow all the way down now, reach the bottom, and I'm going to place in a kelp all the way up to the top. This is going to turn it into a source block of water, which means our bubble column will flow. And any minute now, up we go. Okay, so I'm then going to add in my way down from here. So I'm going to come across to this other side of the build, and I can check that I'm the same distance out. So that's 3, 1, 2, 3, and break a block here. And I'm going to replace this block here with a slab, and I'll flood that slab. Just like that. Okay, coming over to this side now, we're going to break a block, and that'll go down to this side. And you should see that we've not got water flowing here if you've clicked it correctly. Okay, for this water column, we're just going up to this next story. We're going to do much the same thing, placing in our warped door and our trapdoors. And I like to make sure my doorways face the same direction, so they open outwards away from each other. Like this. Going up with our trapdoors. Trapdoors can be a bit of a tedious thing to place. I hold shift so that way I can place the trapdoors onto one another. But if you're having trouble by placing the trapdoors in this way, you could use some temporary blocks. I've just got some sea lanterns here to demonstrate, and you can place your trapdoors onto these. Whatever works best for you. Okay, let's finish off this tube. There we go. I'm going to replace this block with a soul sand. Once again, I'll place water in here and make it into source blocks using my kelp. Let's see if we got it working. There we go. Now we need to get down from this level. So we're going to break this block here, and we're going to place in a stone brick slab here and flood it with some water. And just so everything matches, we're going to be turning these 2 tubes into matching tubes for that one. So we're just going to place in trapdoors going all the way around here, leaving room for a door, and on this side too. We're going to turn this one into a bit of a decorative situation. By placing trapdoors beside this falling hole to get from the story above to here, it also means that you're not going to accidentally move while you're falling and fall onto a block that isn't water. Okay, almost done flipping all of these trapdoors. And onto the front. Now I'm going to add doors to both of these. You don't have to, this is purely for looks here. it's not going to need to stop water on this side. On this side, I'm going to fill up the tube with water, so that's a little bit more important. I'm going to place in a sea lantern here. Let's fill in the rest of this face with some trapdoors. I'm going to place a water in at the top. I'm going to need to place in a temporary block to do this. So I'll just place that in there and then I can go back and replace that from the outside. There we go. And I'm going to grow some kelp in there. And on this side, we're just going to add it in our last few trapdoors. So from here, you should be able to access both stories and we can get down from both stories. And here we go. Here's how I've decorated my water temple. So I've decided to place mine on this lake here, and I've done a bit of terraforming so it kind of juts out on a bit of a peninsula. I've then created these small islands around the build and placed some fountains to continue this really grand water theme. This building really has a classical sort of style, and so I've continued that in some very simple fountains, and just like we have the flowing streams of water around the base of the build, I've created small flowing streams of water around each of the fountains. As for my planting, I've kept my colour palette fairly simple, so we've just got greens here. I've got some bushes that drape into the water, then we've got our grass and ferns, and of course we've got lots of sea life underneath here with the kelp, seagrass, and then the sea lanterns, or rather the sea pickles. And I've got the glow from the sea lanterns in the fountains as well. And you can see that this build looks really wonderful at night too. We've built in so many glowing elements that it really highlights all of the water columns and looks really fantastic. So now you have an absolutely show-stopping build. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a like and subscribe, and check out my Patreon if you'd like to access some additional benefits. I'd really love your support. See you in another video!